This week on Siskel and Ebert, Brad Pitt gets some life lessons from Anthony Hopkins in Meet Joe Black.
Meryl Streep finds herself dancing at Lughnasa.
And Jennifer Love Hewitt and Brandy are running scared, and I still know what you did last summer.
To be your guide. I wish you to see the world.
Anthony Hopkins and Brad Pitt star in Meet Joe Black, the story of a strange visit from death. It's one of 5 new movies we'll be reviewing this week on Siskel and Ebert. I'm Gene Siskel of the Chicago Tribune.
And I'm Roger Ebert of the Chicago Sun-Times. In one of the opening scenes of Meet Joe Black, a millionaire media mogul played by Anthony Hopkins is preparing for his 65th birthday party, considering a merger offer and growing concern that his youngest daughter may be about to marry a man she doesn't truly, passionately love.
Fall head over heels. Find someone you can love like crazy and who'll love you the same way back. And how do you find him? Well, you forget your head and you listen to your heart. I'm not hearing any heart.
That's Claire Forlani, very good as the daughter. A short time later, in a New York coffee shop, she meets a stranger played by Brad Pitt.
So you and I, if we were married, I would... No example, okay? If you and I were married, I would want to give you what you need. That's all. I'm talking about taking care of each other the best you can. What's wrong with taking care of a woman? She takes care of you.
You'll have a hard time finding a woman like that these days.
Shoot, you think so?
Imagine her astonishment that evening when she sees the same man sitting at her father's dinner table. Actually, this is the same man in body, but not in spirit. A supernatural being now inhabits the body, and he has come not to see her, but to speak of matters of life and death to her father.
Your dad?
Yes?
Yeah, not dead. He's just a kid in a suit.
The suit came with the body I took.
Later in the film, the millionaire has been informed that he is going to die soon, and he knows that the mysterious stranger, named Joe Black, has fallen in love with his beloved daughter. But will this love cost her the chance to live her own life and take her own chances?
I'm perfect for you. To take whatever you want because it pleases you. It's not love.
What is it?
Some aimless infatuation in which, for the moment, you feel like indulging. It's missing everything that matters.
This is a rare blend of emotion and intelligence. The movie's a tearjerker on one level, but on another level, it's perceptive and tough-minded about human nature. The connection between those two levels is the millionaire played by Anthony Hopkins. Unlike most rich men in the movies, he's good and honest and decent, and the way he deals with Joe Black is like a lesson for all of us as we negotiate with the inescapable fact that sooner or later we're going to die. The movie lingers too long over its closing scenes, but I was surprised how much it touched me.
I like the film's, if you will, message. This is based on the old picture from the 30s, Death Takes a Holiday.
Yeah.
And the message is, as you expressed it, love intensely. And take your life seriously. And that's the theme that is repeated at various levels by the different characters, including in the business world as well. And I found that communicated beautifully and powerfully, and I was really touched by the film.
I did. Now, I think the Brad Pitt character is written, I think, from the wrong point of view. I don't believe that you could be death for the entire history of mankind and not know about peanut butter, for example. I think that he is a little too naive about how things work when he first reappears in the older man's life. But what I really loved is how smart the Anthony Hopkins character is and how, as a successful businessman, he can negotiate anything, including even his own fate.
Well, I think in the case of death, he's very wise about how to conduct, if you will, his life.
Yeah.
And the love story is quite romantic.
Oh, yes,
I mean,
it is.
You know, that one, it's a good couple up there on the screen.
Yes, it is.
Okay, and our next film is the surprisingly unemotional romantic comedy, I'll Be Home for Christmas. And with a great title like that, You expect a film with a strong emotional pull, but the problems here begin with the lead character in the film, a college student in California who has to get home by Christmas because the reason is bribery. His dad will give him a fancy car if he makes it back to New York in time for the holidays. And it's all part of an effort to get the kid, played by Jonathan Taylor Thomas, to like his stepmother. So it's a completely callous story. No love is involved at any level. Certainly not with the kid.
But what about everybody else? My mom and dad would be crushed if I didn't come home. And what about your dad? And your sister and Carolyn?
You know, bringing up my dad's new wife just drains me of all my Christmas spirit.
Look, all I'm saying is, don't you think it's about time you went home?
What romance there is lame as the young man competes with a rival for the affections of his girlfriend, Jessica Biel, during a cross-country ride full of silly challenges. As for the humor, here's a sample as he has wound up in a Santa suit and needs to practice his holiday greeting.
Ho, 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 Merry Christmas.
Ho, 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 Merry Christmas.
Ho, 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 Merry Christmas.
Well, the first one's good for really little kids, like my sister, who's 3. And the second one's good for big kids, like my friends and me. And the third one's good if you want to scare people and watch them run away screaming.
Okay, cool, thanks.
Not funny, not romantic. I suppose the benchmark for a road picture like this is the wonderful Plane, Trains, and Automobiles. I'll Be Home for Christmas is nowhere in the same league. Thumbs down for me.
Thumbs down for me, too. I didn't care about any of the characters or anything that happened to them. And you know what the movie felt like? Pleasantville in reverse. Pleasantville is about smart people going back into a 50s sitcom and spreading life and interest and originality and change there. This movie is about people who seem to have been removed from a 50s sitcom and moved into the present day so they can spread around idiocy, disinterest, stupidity, cliches, lack of personality, and dumb plotting.
I'd love to get the writers of this picture in the screening room and tell me, did they really think that was funny? I mean, is that funny?
It's from Mars. The people in this movie aren't like any people I've ever seen in life or any people I've ever seen in the movies.
And you're never going to see them either.
I hope not. Coming up later, Jennifer Love Hewitt and Brandy are menaced in the teenage slasher sequel, I Still Know What You Did Last Summer.
It's happening again.
What? Coming up next, Meryl Streep heads the cast of Dancing at Lughnasa.
So Michael is a love child. A son conceived in love. I'm glad you have a child conceived in love, Agnes.
He's not mine. He's Christina's.
Mine, Jack. He's mine.
All of you. You all love him. He belongs to all of you.
In 1936, in a small Irish village in Donegal, a retired priest has returned home to live with his unmarried sisters. He's seen a lot during 25 years in Africa and isn't shocked that one sister has a child out of wedlock. That's in Dancing at Lughnasa, a film based on the much-honored Tony Award-winning stage play by Brian Friel. It's told through the eyes of the young boy who narrates a memory of a summer before everything changed.
Why have you no friends, Michael? You're another gander. Aren't you, son?
And that's Meryl Streep as the oldest of the sisters and Daryl Johnston as her young nephew. One day the boy's dashing father arrives on a motorcycle. He's a hard guy to pin down.
Is that himself? He's a big boy.
He's grown well.
Does he like school?
He doesn't say much.
Like his Aunt Kate?
Yes, indeed. Someone please tell me what they have to say to each other.
Then there's the problem of Rose, a sister who is a little slow-witted and sneaks off to the pagan festival of Lughnasa with a married man. She's played by Sophie Thompson.
Will you marry us, Jack? Danny Bradley can't marry a Rose. He's married already. You know that.
But he loves me, Agnes, and I love him. And his wife's left him.
That's not our business.
The most affecting performance in the movie is by Michael Gambon as old Father Jack.
I hope all goes well in Spain, you old rogue. You're off tomorrow.
I am, comrade. That's a wonderful uniform. I could do with that for Spain.
It was my uniform when I was chaplain to the British Army in the Great War. There was a time when it fitted. There was a time when it was splendid.
Dancing at Lughnasa is written with poetry and acted with gentle care, but not very much happens in it. It's a movie that's all texture and atmosphere, shaped by memory, but not by drama. On the stage, that was enough, and I enjoyed the play, but somehow this film seems to be all nostalgia and regret and no purpose. Maybe the message is that traditional Irish society left these people with no way to realize themselves. Or maybe not. I don't know. At the end, I felt unsatisfied.
I did too, but of course, we know how this film is going to end up. All the sisters are going to be dancing together. Come on, in sisterhood. And that's why you were let down at the end. I was too.
You know, whenever I see a movie that begins with a phrase something like, things were never the same again after that summer, I always kind of feel like I know what the whole movie is going to be about. It's all kind of soft focus and voices heard across the fields, and the little boy with the big eyes sees what the adults are doing, and at the end, he has this memory to take forward and tell us about many years later.
And each one is on a conveyor belt. Each woman on a conveyor belt is going to pass before us with her problems.
Every single sister had a characteristic, including the one who lit a cigarette every time the camera turned to her. You know, give her some different business occasionally. Coming up next, the slasher is back from the grave, stalking teenagers in I Still Know What You Did Last Summer.
He's out there.
What the hell are you doing in my closet?
Yeah, that's the old reliable scene where a perfectly innocent person does a completely insane thing and is mistaken by somebody who was scared out of her wits to begin with. That's the best friend and roommate in the closet. Now, why didn't she turn on the lights when she came into the apartment where she lives? Why did she make creaky noises? Why did she hide in the closet when she knows that her best friend has been terrified of slashers for the last 12 months? I'll tell you why. Because a movie like I Still Know What You Did Last Summer is so bankrupt of ideas that it can't even come up with interesting cliches. The movie stars Jennifer Love Hewitt as a girl who is still being stalked because of a traffic accident that happened not last summer, but actually the summer before last. A mad slasher dressed up as the Gorton's fisherman in a slicker and rain hat is chopping up everyone around her. Hewitt and a roommate, played by the pop singer Brandy, went a trip to the Bahamas with their boyfriends, played by Matthew Settle and Mackay Pfeiffer.
If I'd known for just 1 second you'd be back to bother me, oh, now go.
Everyone's a damn singer.
Just turn around now, 'cause you're not welcome anymore. Don't know the lyrics, hold on.
It's him.
Sure enough, the mad slasher in the raincoat has followed them there. Now, how did they win the trip to the Bahamas? On a radio station contest where they said Rio was the capital of Brazil. Well, that's the wrong answer. The answer is Brasilia, and the contest is a phony. But frankly, I was surprised these characters even knew Brazil was a country. I Still Know What You Did Last Summer is a deadening series of setups and slashings, setups and slashings, setups and slashings, and for its viewers, it's a waste of 90 precious minutes that they can never get back. Just think, Gene, that's 3 hours between the two of us, and if you multiply that by thousands of people who will see this movie, it adds up to months, years, even centuries lost forever to the human race.
Yes, if we'd all pulled together, we could have solved some very big problems. We could have gone to a disaster site and, you know, put sandbags by a raging dam.
That's right. We could have stopped flooding. We could have tutored kids who want to learn how to read. Maybe have a used clothing drive or something. Think of the hours of volunteer labor that this movie has taken out of the human time pool. It's shocking.
I'm going to go home and just cry.
I think I'm going to start crying right now.
Okay, next film. And our next film is Velvet Goldmine, which is a colorful but unimportant commentary on a very small niche in pop music and culture history, the so-called glam rock scene in England in the 1970s. I'm talking about such performers as Iggy Pop, Rod Stewart, Elton John, and David Bowie. So what was my reaction as I followed the exploits of a fictional glam rock star in the picture named Brian Slade, played by Jonathan Rhys-Meyers.
Baby's on fire. I better throw her in the water. Look at her laughing like a heifer to the slaughter.
But he has disappeared as the film opens and is tracked in an audacious tribute to, of all films, Citizen Kane, as a reporter, played by Christian Bale, interviews those who knew Brian Slade. And the one who knew him best is an American pop star named Kurt Wilde, played by Ewan McGregor.
Listen, a real artist creates beautiful things and puts nothing of his own life into them, okay?
Is that what you did?
No. We set out to change the world. Ended up just changing ourselves.
Again, my criticism maybe is a heartless so what, because the glam rock, the glitter rock scene was all surface and no substance. Applied glitter than in the actual gold. I can appreciate the costume design and the production design, but the pain and suffering of these characters did not touch me. Thumbs down for me on Velvet Goldmine.
Well, thumbs down for me too, although not thumbs down on the scene. I like Bowie, I like Elton John, I love Rod Stewart in his concert performances. But what the movie is about is not the energy of that music, but this really confusing and pointless search for the secret of Brian Slade, who was never on screen long enough at the beginning for us to care whatever happened to him. And the movie, first, for about an hour, it seems to be getting underway with introductions and flashbacks and meteor showers. And then for the next hour, it seems to be ending. Every single scene I thought was the last scene. There isn't any middle in the film. It's not about anything.
Now, you named some and I named some very good performers. But this music is not memorable.
No,
this is not at that caliber.
The
that's
music
what I mean.
is not worth listening to in the film.
Right.
The performances are pointless. The screenplay is very, very confused. And Todd Haynes, the director, it seems to me, is over-directing all of these little kinds of segues from one place you don't know where it is to another place you don't know where it is.
And I don't know what he wanted to tell us about that scene.
I don't either. I don't know. I'm clueless. When we come back, the video pick of the week, another movie that shows the range of Anthony Hopkins.
I'm a perfectly straightforward character with all my cards on the table.
But there are so many cards, and some of them are under the table, too.
My video pick of the week features another remarkable performance by Anthony Hopkins playing the great artist Pablo Picasso in Surviving Picasso, which focuses on his love-hate relationships with his many wives and lovers who were the subjects of so many of his paintings. At the start of the film, in Paris, during the Second World War, Picasso has a new love, a 23-year-old art student named Françoise Gillot, played by the stunning Natasha McElhone.
This modern cult of free sex doesn't interest me at all. One might as well go for a haircut. Or eat a ham sandwich. There's nothing serious in it. So, should we do something serious?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'll show you my etchings.
To demonstrate his love to Françoise, Picasso cruelly brings her to meet his old flame, the legendary Dora Maar, played by Julianne Moore.
I take it you've come for something other than to study my paintings.
That's right. The point is I'm trying to make Françoise come live with me, but she says she won't because of you.
What do I have to do with it?
Exactly. You heard it yourself. She has nothing to do with it, because there is nothing between her and me. Tell her.
No, absolutely nothing.
Of course, it is Picasso's protein art that turns on these women and sustains our interest as well. And the best moments in Surviving Picasso, for me, are the few when painting is the subject as much as his personality.
Now, look at this. Obviously, it's a woman. It's you in your long black dress. But you seem to be turning into a bouquet of flowers or a lilac bush. Very mysterious.
Anthony Hopkins captures the charm and bravado of Picasso, and Natasha McElhone gives a performance that goes way beyond beauty. Surviving Picasso, my video pick of the week.
Now let's take another look at the movies we reviewed this week. 2 thumbs up for Meet Joe Black, the surprising combination of thoughtfulness and bittersweet romance. Anthony Hopkins provides a potentially soft story with a strong center. 2 thumbs down for The Cornball, I'll Be Home for Christmas, a complete waste of space. 2 more thumbs down for the well-acted and well-meaning Dancing at Lughnasa, which really doesn't add up to much. 2 thumbs way down for the idiotic slasher movie I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, which gives slashers and movies a bad name. And 2 more thumbs down for the ambitious but aimless Velvet Goldmine, which, like the music it celebrates, is all glitter and no gold.
Remember, you can hear our reviews on the web at Siskel-Ebert.com. Next week, we'll be back with reviews of more new movies, including the thriller Enemy of the State.
You have something they want. 2 targets, rooftop. I don't have anything. Maybe you do and you don't know it.
Starring Will Smith and Gene Hackman. And also Woody Allen's showbiz comedy Celebrity, starring Kenneth Branagh and Leonardo DiCaprio. That's next week. And until then, the balcony is closed.
Have fun all year long with this year's newest family game. Spin the calendar and land on your lucky day. Make a date with Game of the Year from University Games.
Nothing tastes like popcorn cooked in a pot on the stove. Except, new home-style microwave popcorn from Pop Secret.
Now there's a new Monostat that cures a yeast infection with a soothing cream. Introducing Monostat 3 Cream from the #1 doctor-recommended brand.
In your lifetime, you'll spend 6.5 years in a car. Spend it wisely. Call Thrifty Car Rental. Great cars, great rates. Best of all, it's thrifty.